So here we are, another a real agency chat, and we're delighted to be joined by Oscar Rowe. Oscar, you've been how long have you been part of real agency? Not that long now, a few months now, is it?
Yeah, I think September. So what's that? Coming up 3 months now. So not long.
Yes. So usually we do these interviews with people who are a bit more established. So they can, they've got some houses on the market, they're selling. They go, yeah, it's been great the last year. But with you, it's different because your story is unique. It is unique. So to put it into context, most people that join eXp and real agency are either individual agents or business owners. But the individual agents, they tend to join and and they've been operating in their area all of their business career, working for an estate agency. Oscar, completely different. Move out of London. You've moved down to Ringwood on the south coast, and basically you don't know anybody. So let's tell us that. Yeah, what's the story? What made you join, and to start from somewhere completely new.
Well, I mean, you've summed it up. Everyone thinks I'm absolutely mad. That's for sure. I did it in London for about, it would have been 7 years, I think it was, running an office in Battersea. And then my missus and she and I basically were just absolutely jumping to get out of London. And she's got family down here and now got a job in Poole, so literally down the road from me. So I went, all right, estate agents can run anywhere. I'll hack it. I'll work it out. I'll see as we go. And maybe it's a bit of arrogance. Maybe it's a bit of sort of blind faith. But I just went, yeah, it will work out. It's fine. And I've got first listing launching down here from literally self-generated, no referral, nothing on Boxing Day.
Ah,
Brilliant.
amazing.
I'm really excited.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And how's it going in terms of what you were expecting to happen in those first few months and what's transpired since?
Well, my missus is more supportive of me than I am, I think, because I keep saying, "Oh no, it's been a bit slow, it's been a bit rough," but then I get reminded. I think I've had 10 vows down here
Okay.
since moving, and I moved. It must have been just after I joined. I think end of September I officially moved down, and so I've had 10 vows. I've got I think a database of about 200 people from different letters I've sent out now. So like it's growing quite fast, and I mean everyone I'm speaking to has been great. So I think it's been probably better than I would have expected if you'd asked me 2 months ago. But me being a bit sort of arguably short-sighted and a bit sort of fast-paced, I'm going, well, it's slower than I thought. But yeah, if you'd asked me at the start, I'd go probably better than expected.
You
Brilliant.
said something interesting there. You said your missus, I mean, your wife, I assume, does have a name, but
Sorry, it's Catherine. I mean, it's girlfriend, but yeah, I just say Mrs. because down here
girlfriend,
everyone says
Mrs.
Mrs.
partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, get to do it to get into trouble if she's in. So Catherine, you said she's got what you were saying there. If I correct me if I'm so, is that she has more faith in you than maybe you have in yourself. And as an athlete, I can relate to that because you know we tend to have more faith in other people than they have in themselves. I think that's a really positive thing to have people around you, just reminding you that they're backing you. You got to back yourself, but they're backing you probably even more. Is that fair to say?
Oh, completely. I mean, there'll be times I was sat there at the dinner table just stressed, going, it's all a bit slow. And she'll go, well, hold up. If we count the numbers here, because I'm very numbers wise, she's not, but she'll go, let's count the numbers because that chills you out. And we'll go through things and break it down. And I'm like, all right, yeah, cool. And she's like, I hear about all the great stories and I don't really pick up when you're stressed because you're just usually just panicking about nothing.
How stressful is it?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'd say quite because I'd been self-employed for about a year before I joined EXP. I basically came into it when I went self-employed. I came into it with a load of savings, going right. I've got a backup fund, as it were. But then because of what I was doing, I sort of helped start a business with a friend of a sort of tech business, and then moved into this. And I went, oh well, because that didn't take off quick enough. I don't really have any savings, so it's quite stressful because I'm sort of going right. Every single meeting matters 10 times more than it would if you went, oh well, I've got 6 months to make it work. At the moment, it's going right. You literally have to sort of eat what you kill, as it were, and every meeting has to sort of come out with something positive. So yeah, quite stressful, but I mean,
And
arguably,
what? So that first few months, I think it's what, an agent watching this, thinking about coming across to EXP, it's the fearful bit, isn't it? Because there's the lag to having income, right? I mean, that's the challenge that anyone faces when they go independent and have that lag of, having a listing, having a valuation turn into a completion across whatever the average time is. I don't know, longer than it should be, but we'll come on to that. What if someone was starting out and thinking about maybe moving away from a high street salaried role? and taking on an independent under whichever model, what advice would you give them?
I would say first and foremost, I had this conversation with a friend of mine in London the other day. I think you need max 3 to 6 months savings because the work you can do. I mean, I had by my own sort of choice, I had surgery shortly thereafter joining, so I then couldn't go door knocking. But I would say anyone that's joining, you can do so much for free. Like you can go out. I mean, I don't know how many homes there are in Ringwood. I probably should know that, but you can go out door knocking probably every day for 3 months and not hit the same home twice. And no one that's got the drive, grit, determination, and sort of arguably a bit of arrogance to go self-employed is going to mind getting a door slammed in their face, I would say. So actually, if you go knock on a couple of doors, even if people go, actually, you're lovely, but no chance, I don't know who you are, it's getting your name out there and there's free things to do. So you don't need a huge amount. You just need the willpower to get up and be really strict with yourself time-wise. That's the key thing, I think, is just having a strict schedule when no one's holding you accountable.
Yeah, it's really interesting to us because we fundamentally believe there are only three parts to any performance journey. Whether you're running, throwing, or being an estate agent, and you have to have skill, you have to have knowledge. Well, everyone in the real agency group has skill and knowledge. Yeah, we can get more skill and we can get more knowledge, but it's the behavior piece, isn't it? It's you've just brushed off the yeah you're going to knock. I'm happy to go out there and knock on loads of doors. Some people are scared to knock on one door. And it's not just that. There are lots of other things. You can fill your time if you're self-employed. You should fill your time every moment of every day. That's the thrill of it. I mean, Steve and I don't know any different. That's the thrill of it. It's in your hands. There's something you can do every day. If you don't have that mindset, yeah, self-employment probably isn't right for you, is it?
Oh, completely. Yeah, yeah. You've got to have at least a bit of that. Like door knocking, okay, I get that that's scary. I used to do it full time. So I get that it's scary, but also you get one win and you just feel
Yeah.
so enthused about it. Like all you have to do is go right. And I used to tell myself, I was like, right, as long as I can get a nice conversation, and even if they tell me to go away, as long as I get one nice conversation in the next 10 doors, that's a good win for the day. And it's
Okay.
break it down to really small stuff. So I used to do it in the rain for charities. And I went, right, okay, I'll just as long as I can get one cup of tea in 50 doors, I'm good. And you'd end up sort of signing
Wow.
up three people or whatever. And you have to break it down to those little
Mm,
things. Because
mm.
otherwise you'll never get a win because you'll go, oh, I'll wait for a completion as my first big win. You're like, all right. 7 months later, you're going, I've not had a win in
Yeah.
7 months. You're like, well, how many vows? etc. But you know what I mean.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. What's your opening line? So knock, knock, knock. What comes next?
So
What do you say?
I used to always do. I promise I'm not as bad as I look because it just breaks the ice. It's just not what you're expecting, and then people go, "Oh no, you don't look that bad," or "Oh yeah, you look like a sleazy salesman," or whatever the line is. But then you've got something to bounce off of rather than just going straight into a script where someone goes, "You're just pitching me. You don't know who I am. You haven't even tried to break the ice." So that's the icebreaker I'd use. It worked probably about 50% of the time, but I think
Mm,
most of them probably do.
mm.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Oscar, you're a constant present on our presence on our weekly, real agency club Zooms, where people from all over the country, whether they're in their cars or in their homes or out and about, just join in for an hour. We all connect with each other and share best practice. And it seems to me that you're sort of not USP, but something that you get and you're passionate about is the social media side to, estate agency and how, we're in this period now with AI and social media where it's a different way of doing it, and you seem to be on top of that. Is that something that excites you?
I wouldn't. I weirdly would say no. It doesn't excite me, but I understand the reasons behind doing it, and it's sort of like, and my whole thing with it is give enough value for free, and people will sort of want to pay for your value. And I think that's the reason I do it because I'm going, right, well, there's this advice, there's this advice, there's this advice. And people that can then go, even if they never interact with me, they might go, I mean, if you saw it and went, actually, 3 ways to list a home, I'm thinking about selling my house in the new year. You go, oh, I haven't even thought about it. But like subconsciously, we're going, Oscar gave me that advice, even if you haven't spoken to me. So when you go, I want an agent round, you go, have you heard about this Oscar guy? And that's what I'm hoping to get out of it. It's sort of, I'm sort of quite regimented with it because I don't actually enjoy it, but I enjoy talking, so I just film myself whilst I chat.
Okay. Okay.
And just coming on specifically to the EXP model, you said you were on your own for a year with a business partner. You said, yeah, after,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I did a different brokerage for 3 or 4 months
Okay,
in London, Harding Green. And then from that, my friend started a touting business, actually for estate agents, where it sort of uses your database and emails out and gets valuations, instructions, whatever. And I helped him build that to a point, but then step back from it because I went, actually, it's not driving me anymore. I'm not really excited about it. Whereas I get excited about property, probably in a bit of a sad sense that I get excited about everything I list and look at because I quite enjoy how would I do this, how would I change this, etc.
Got it. And what was the allure for, I mean, within the XP model? What was it that grabbed your attention and made you think that that's the model for me? That's what I'm going to take on.
So when I looked at it, it seems to me like it's the highest ROI for the smallest barrier to entry. So like you can earn a huge amount for, I mean, okay, you've got the 70/30 cap, but that's until 80 grand. So I mean, you look at what we were doing when we ran a corporate office and we were doing 800 to a million a year. And I went, okay, how much is the brand? How much is me? But if you did 200,000 in personal fees, which isn't huge, especially in London, down here slightly more units, but where I was based, that was 15 units, which you can easily handle one a month. And I was like, well, hold up, that's 100 and I think 170, 180 grand in my back pocket. And I went, that's just huge for very little. I mean, the monthly you're paying what, 150 quid a month, 210, I think, for
Mm.
lettings and sales. And that's, I mean, so low in comparison. I was paying, I think, 600 quid a month for the previous brokerage.
Wow.
Mm.
And it felt a bit like it was more corporate-y of sort of going, we want you to do it this way, it's this way, it's this way. Whereas EXP, it's completely how I want to run it. I can go, right, I don't understand this. There's a whole back team, but then no one's going to go, actually, you need to do it this way, or, oh, you can't do that. And it's just the autonomy of going, actually, you're completely got your own autonomy to do what you want, but you've got the back team of going, we're not going to get sued for AML, basically.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because because there are a few rules, but they're, yeah, a handful that you have to abide by, but you hardly ever hear them because they're just common sense. It's just like
Yeah.
normality. So you're right. The excitement of being able to run your own business, be an entrepreneur, but have that support, that back end support. What I love about it is all the stuff that you estate agents have to do. EXP take care of that. So they free you up to have more time to be an estate agent. And that to me makes complete sense.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you change about the industry, Oscar? But just to take a real zoom out, and I mean, XP has been to, the word disruptor comes along. I mean, people at EXP is disrupting the industry and it's the new way and all this stuff. Great, and that's happened in the States, and it's relatively early days in the UK. Still a lot of very established agents who've never even heard of EXP, amazingly. But if you think about that disruption and what's happening in the industry, what would you want to change or see change through this process of disruption?
So I personally think, and this is what I've started doing down here, but this is from I'd say probably more selfish individual agent point, which is I think there needs to be more accountability on the client rather than the agent. Of sort of you work for, I mean, you were saying earlier, you referenced to the fact of how long does a completion take, right? So if it falls through at the last minute, the average listing to completion, especially well where I am, is 427 days, right? So you're working over a year, and it could
Wow.
fall through at the last minute, and they go, "Well, it fell through because of you. We're going to change agent." And you've worked a year and almost a year and a half for no pay. And I've started doing it where, okay, look, we're going to have it where we're working together. I'll front the marketing, but there's a sort of if you then choose to go another way, you have to reimburse it because it puts a bit of accountability on going, let's get this right together, as opposed to there are clients, of course, that go, well, let me try it 30% what it's worth, above what it's worth, and just see. And then it's like, well, it's a waste of your time. So I think there's got to be more accountability on a working relationship. There are very few professions where you can engage someone completely professionally, contract and everything, but pay nothing. And it seems bonkers that agents do I'd say the most amount of work in the process, but then your surveyors are paid up front, your lawyers are paid up front, etc. And then you're going, well, we're the last to get paid, but the most scrutiny on. And that seems wrong to me. And I think that's a change that I'd probably put in place, but mainly because I think you need to value your agent more. I mean, fees are historically low anyway. I mean, you look at anywhere else in the world that's sort of a leading country in sort of their economy, it's 4 or 5
Yeah.
percent.
Somebody sold houses a few times in the last sort of 10 years or whatever. I think the sense is that all you do is you pick any agent, doesn't matter who it is. They're going to put it on Rightmove. Um, it's going to sell because everyone thinks their house is going to sell. And that model is just it's so fragile. And that's what excites us about eXp, because it is all about relationships. It's about actually, if someone will come to me and say, look, I'm going to work with you, we're going to work as a team. I'm going to be your agent. If you want me to do a viewing on Sunday, I'll do a viewing on Sunday. Not just, oh, give someone a few quid to come and show your house who's never even been in your house. That has happened with me many times. I just don't get that. So I think you're right, Oscar. It's that relationship between the client and the agent, but it's educating the client to say, estate agents actually do work quite hard. You just don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, this is the thing, right? And I think it's if you're all aligned and you can show your value enough, no one's going to mind doing that. Because if you're going, "Yeah, I'll stick it on Rightmove and see," no one's going to pay you anything up front. No one's going to help you with sort of your process. But if you're like, actually, this is because I have a three-step marketing approach before it's even listed on Rightmove with every single client, which is we have the video first. Then we do a cut through of all the photos. Then we put it out as a huge post across that's a paid ads, and then it goes on Rightmove. So it's like a 2 to 3 week process before it's even launched. And we had it with one actually in collaboration with another eXp agent, not from Real Agency, but from it was actually James Hughes
Yeah.
down
Good
in
number.
Hythe,
Okay.
and they'd had no viewings for 14 months. And we've had 4 in the first month of listing. And it's like, okay, 4 isn't huge, but it is in comparison to 0 and 14 months, right? So, and that was from the video. That was all
You know,
from
you,
the right marketing.
you said something there, which we know what you're talking about. It's a really important part of this. You've collaborated with an EXP agent that you're not connected with, in the same group, but you've collaborated between yourself and that agent to sell a house, to help each other. Whether
Yeah.
you're helping him or he's helping you. That's going on all the time in EXP, not just in the UK, it's globally. And that's something I think people just don't reckon. I don't think we shout about it enough, because I think that
Mm,
must, if I was an estate agent, that'd be quite attractive to me.
mm, mm.
I completely agree. It's the thing when I came on, I went, I've got no revenue. And then I met a who's now a mate of mine down here at a networking event who flips properties over in Wales, in Swansea. I went, okay, who do we have? So Daff, who's in our
Yeah, yeah. In that
agency,
real agency, yeah.
I passed him across, and he went round to 3 valuations. Unfortunately, because it wasn't him, it was the client that went, actually, no, we don't want to pay a marketing fee. And again, when they stick on the market for a bit, they'll probably come back to him. But he's now changed his contract, going, we want autonomy to choose the agent because he wants a working relationship with me and then Daff. But I'm not going to have anything to do with it. Like I can't go 2.5 hours across
No,
for a viewing. So that collaboration is huge because it'll be extra revenue I wouldn't have seen if it was any other brokerage.
Brilliant, brilliant. Just casting your mind forward, Oscar. Sort of, it's early days. I get it. You're still in that sort of, I suppose, phase where you're building the business, and it sounds like it's going well. So great work on that. I'm intrigued though, if you were to sort of put your most optimistic hat on and cast your mind forward, let's say, long term, like 10 years time, what would be success for you? What would it look like?
I think success for me would be that I want to sort of I want to I never want to stop the property and selling bit, right? So I still want to have every year it's me, it's my face, you're going after it, but I'd like to have a team where it's an actual
mm,
brand you're sort of working
mm.
with, not just Oscar Rowe. I've already got it set up, which is Oscar Rowe OR Real Estate, and I'm like, right, I know the brand, I know what I want to do, I know what the design looks like, and I've probably, for lack of a better phrase, I've got it on my vision board. I haven't actually got a vision board, but you know what I
Oh
mean.
yeah, yeah.
And I want to, like, I'm still going to and from London 2 days a week. So I'd like to partner with an agent in London and grow both here and London because I've still got more clients up there. And as I mean, we all know people. I mean, you're down in Devon, and then we've got sort of like people down here that I'd like to grow the brand that is known for its marketing and its relationships down here because everyone I'm speaking to is like, oh yeah, the agent's a bit lazy. We don't hear after viewings. We have to chase for feedback. I'm like, right. So if I can grow the known brand that goes right every single time anything happens with your property, we change a photo or whatever, you get a call to go, you are known to go, I will hear from my agent every week, regardless, because that is the employment that's the person I'm employing, the brand I'm employing. And that's my 10-year goal of going, right, it is the leading, yeah, branding in that way.
If
Do it
we
in
can help
five.
with
You
that,
do
by the
it in
way.
5, Oscar. Do it in
Yeah,
5. Come
you
on,
do it
Steve.
now.
10 years. 10 years. That's my whole athletics career.
I got
But
asked about 10 years, so hey, I'll
yeah,
do it.
yeah,
I mean, let's do
yeah.
it in 2 or 3,
Um,
right? I mean,
uh, it's really interesting listening to you because, and for us, we've been around EXP in the early days of 200 agents in the country. It's pushing 900 now. and businesses couldn't come on board, until really the year and a half ago. So things are moving all the time, all the time. But we're hearing more and more people like yourself who start off as the individual, but the dream is, the goal is, one day I'd like to have my own brand, my business, and that's that. And that's doable at EXP. It's not like you're trailblazing here. You've got Adam Mackay, Jamie Fisher, all these people. They've done that. They created a new brand. They're trying to get the opportunity and the flexibility to partner and grow is limitless now, and must be really exciting for you to be part of this. So you're not just saying this is my dream. Actually, there are people out there who you can work with to help you achieve that.
Well, that's one of the main reasons I came under Adam and Jamie is because they were literally in the process of creating Moving whilst
Yes.
I was coming on board. And they went, "Do you want to be a part of Moving or do you want to be separate?" I was like, "Look, I want to be separate, but I want to understand what you've done." Because I think there's three or four main teams as a sort of like the org
Mm.
real agency, us, yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But the reason I came under them is because they understand exactly how they changed it to a brand in EXP. So knowing that and having that knowledge network directly at my fingertips, also invested in my growth is massive, and that's the reason I chose them because they can help me get to that point quicker,
Mm.
I'd say.
Mm.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
interesting. You have that freedom that you just referenced, and we were talking to another agent recently, and their kind of big reason, the why that we talk about, in terms of Roger and I and the coaching we do around this, is we always ask, and try and pull out what's that why, what really is it? And that particular agent said it boiled it down. It took a little while, but it was stability and freedom that they were striving for in terms of moving above the commercial goal of being a successful agent. If we were to ask you that same question, what would you answer? What would you say?
I think mine probably would boil down to freedom, and sort of choosing my own hours, which is like I don't mind working 7 days a week, but when my Mrs. Catherine turned around the other day and went, "Can we go to Winchester Market at 2 o'clock on a Thursday?" Being able to do that was massive because I was like, "Yeah, that's fine," but like when we get back at 8, I'm probably gonna do a bit of work, and she was like, "That's cool." So that's massive to me of going, okay, you can just completely set your own hours of going, as long as you know the work is getting done. Doesn't matter if it's midnight when you're emailing back inquiries going, "Yeah, hey, we can book you in, and then come back to you in the morning." Like it can all
Mm.
get done and you can then structure it in different ways.
A- and the parallel there, Oscar, which Steve and I can nod and agree with, is when you're doing something that you love, when you're doing something that actually deep down you go, actually, this is probably what I'm best at,
Yeah.
whether it's running, throwing, or being an estate agent, you know, you're always working, but you don't see it as work. It's part of you, and that's what the entrepreneur is. And that's why Steve and I love being around guys like you. I love being at the EXP Christmas party with 430 agents from all over the country, because they're all like you. Everyone's different in some ways, but they have this thing in common of this. They're a certain type of person, and that's why they've been successful, and that's why they've chosen to partner with EXP. So it's so great for us to have you part of not just EXP but Real Agency, and you contribute so much to other people in the group. You probably don't think you do, but people are listening, and you're all helping each other. And for me and Steve, it genuinely is just like being athletes again. We feel we're
Yeah.
part of this training group, and we're kind of coaches now, but not actually doing it. But it's so good to have you on board.
Yeah, really can reiterate exactly what I just said, and really excited, Oscar, to see where this amazing journey goes in the next months and years, and look forward to working with you. So thanks for joining us.
No, thanks very much for having me, guys.
Cheers,
And
guys.
I'm a happy Christmas and happy New Year.
Yeah, this is Christmas 2025. You need to date this because this will be out in the ether. So this
We'll
is
do it.
we're
We'll do
sick.
it. We'll see where we are in 12 months.
There you go. We'll
Yeah,
do it
yeah.
again.
Two days to Christmas. Have a great Christmas, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Cheers,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Yeah.